Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Dolores Tarver. I'm a licensed psychologist here in Georgia, coming to you with Tea Time with Dr. Tarver. Yes, it is time for the tea. Tea Time with Dr. Tarver was created not to be a substitute for therapy, but to be a resource for people who are trying to pursue their wellness goals and be the best version of themselves. So let's get into it. We are still in Women's History Month in March, and in part four of this series, we're going to get into something that probably will resonate with any woman out there and probably some of your daughters as well. Our topic for today is why do you keep coming for me? Why women are so critical and attacking of other women. I know you all have countless examples. You probably don't have to go very far to think of an experience you've had, one that someone has shared with you, or that you've witnessed, or something you've seen in social media. So, what does that look like? That looks like that social media post where you see a woman berating another woman because they are sharing the same dating partner, or that post where you see a woman airing the family laundry and telling other women with the expletives all that they can handle about how they are less than, not enough, beneath for whatever reason. We have seen those women arguing about the child's father, and they share fathers, and so they are arguing with each other about that situation. Or it could be that you are dating someone who used to date this woman who has not quite let go of that relationship, and so that woman is being intrusive in your current relationship. She's calling, she's texting, she's posting about you, she's sending you messages that she screenshot from him to her, just trying to stir up things in your relationship, even if they're fabricated or old, just because she does not want this person to be able to move on in a healthy relationship with you. We've seen it in our peer circles. We've seen girlfriends tear down other girlfriends that weren't present in the conversation. So we're out at dinner, and this particular girlfriend didn't happen to be with us that night, and so we're talking negatively about her. We have definitely seen this happen even in our families, where mothers and daughters will be pit against each other, and mom will be sitting talking with the other daughters about a daughter or a couple of the daughters. We have seen also sisters just going back and forth with each other, talking about each other in these very harsh ways. We have seen people on the job, women on the job, try to sabotage other women's pursuits, spread lies about them, spread rumors about them. We have seen women send aggressive text messages or emails in the work environment, or say some expletives on a phone call in the work environment, or the other side of that where we see women passively doing things in the workplace like bullying, excluding behaviors, where it's not overt aggressive per se, but it's more of the passive aggressive types of things, like so you can't be invited. We have seen women attack another woman's motherhood and attack her ability to clean her house, attack her ability to keep a partner, attack her shape. We like to attack women for their physical appearance. That's an easy one for us to go to. Look like you gained weight. You're looking old. What's going on with your hair? Right? All of the ways that we come for other women about their makeup. Oh, you're wearing too much makeup. Oh, you're not wearing enough makeup. We have seen women try to control things, particularly in environments like church. This is my program. I've run this woman's program for the past 10 years. You trying to come in here and take over? No, I'm not going to let any of that happen. Right? So we try to block other women from doing things. We criticize women constantly, cracking jokes as if we're joking, but there's really that truth in the joke, that jab that we like to put in there. Again, that's that passive aggressive in us, where I want to let you know that I really don't think very highly of you without directly saying it. We have seen the two-faced, two-sided people that'll be on one side this day, and on the next day they're on somebody else's side. The people that get on the telephone and gossip and talk about other people. We have seen in the workplace where if you are not friends with that female supervisor, then they make life very difficult for you. But for the people they are friends with, then they're having favors for them, and they're allowing behavior to go by without any kind of consequence. We can be very mocking and dismissive of other women, especially when a woman is going through something. Let's say it's something that's maybe well known in the community, in the church, in the school, or on social media even. We become very mocking of that woman. You're a fool for staying in that. You are being silly. You're being stupid. I wouldn't deal with those kind of things. Or we mock the way they talk or the way that we look. We don't have any problems tearing down other women, whether given the opportunity or not. We'll find an opportunity to tear down other women sometimes. And we have to ask ourselves, why is it as women that it is so easy for us to tear down other women? Why do we take credit for things other women have done and try to pass it off as our own? Why are we dismissive of other women's accomplishments? I like to joke with people and say we put little in front of things when we want to dismiss it. Like, I see your new little house or your new little car, right? Because I don't want you to really get any credit for what you've done. Why is it that we engage in those types of behaviors? So let's talk about what fuels the fire. How do women get there? Now, there is a school of thought out there that women actually biologically are predisposed to being critical and aggressive of other women. Now, as you can imagine, that theory has been met with a lot of criticism. But what I will say to you is that things are in fact learned and things are passed down. And so a lot of times the basis for some of our criticism comes again from our early childhood experiences. If my mother was critical, if she was aggressive, if she had those type of relationships with other women in her family, the mocking, the cracking jokes, particularly around the weight or problems with relationships, you can't cook, you can't clean, those kind of things that we see growing up in the environment, how women talk to other women, that is something that we learn. And so we can take that on, and then that ends up becoming behaviors that we exhibit ourselves. So we wonder where we get these mean girls from on the playground. They often come from mean mothers, mean aunties, mean grandmothers. Sometimes that is a mechanism of defense for them to protect themselves because they're so teased by other women in the family. And so they end up finding ways to fight back too. I'm going to get you before you get me. So I learned how to talk about you and say negative things about you because it will stop you, in my opinion, from being able to get at me, right? Because we don't like to feel vulnerable. As women, we want to appear strong. We don't want to seem like we're weak and that people can get the upper handle on us. So we will definitely try to put some things out there that'll block people from getting to us. We also have these perceptions of women in our minds, and this goes back to gender bias that we have previously discussed, that we are internalized as women. So one of the women who we have at the center of all of this negativity is who we consider to be the promiscuous woman. That woman who takes charge of her sexuality. That woman who shows what she was born with, right? We have a real big issue with her because, again, we are from this perspective of things being a threat. When we respond in ways that are negative and critical and aggressive, it is often because we feel threatened. So this woman who owns her sexuality, that we have equated with some very negative terms, is a woman who could take away something that I have or something that I want. She's a threat to my relationship. She may be attractive to my partner. She may be somebody who is enticing. So I want to discredit her. And so I'll call her out of her name. I will say very negative things about her. Now, we don't do this when it comes to men who have multiple relationships, who are very sexualized beings. In fact, often we find in the literature that people want to be friends with that guy who attracts a lot of people. That guy who oozes sexuality, we want to be cool with that person. Why? Because we want to pick up some tips from that person, or we want to be in the group where I may benefit from knowing you because people are coming over to you and maybe one or two of them might end up talking to me. But we don't do that with women because, again, competition, and we have very rigid views about what we think are acceptable for women in terms of who a woman can be and it be okay, right? So you can be a boss woman and you can say all kinds of things about people because you have this income that you have earned. You're handling people. However, if you are just like that in your relationships, then I'm going to call you a bitch. So again, a certain type of woman commands power. Another type of woman is going to create probably fear and animosity. There's that quote, I'd rather people fear me than love me. And so women have internalized what they feel like are mechanisms to get them what they want. And that means that I need to take on this persona, which can include tearing down other women. Why? This is why we watch these reality shows and we're seeing women throw drinks in each other's faces and have these fights. We like that. We think that's entertaining. But at the same time, there's a part of us that puts that woman into a particular category. Oh, that woman's full of drama. I don't want to deal with it, but I like to watch it. I like to be a part of it. So I'm going to end up having relationships with people who are dramatic like that for various reasons. One, because again, that comparison behavior. So I can say, well, at least I'm not like this person. Or two, that comparison behavior. So I can say, hey, the way this person handles things, it works. So let me try to take on some of these behaviors as well. We also have these relational dynamics as women where we place a lot of value in our relationships. And so anytime there is a perceived threat to a relationship or there is a potential for us to be excluded from a relationship, we get really protective and defensive. And that's when you'll see some of this aggression come out as well. So you're the new girl that's come in and you're cute and people like you and they think you're bubbly. So you might push me out of my social circle. So I need to do something to cause you not to be a threat to me. I might threaten you, literally. I tear you down, mess with your reputation, say things about you, lie. We don't mind lying if it's going to get us what we want. And so I want to reduce the likelihood that you could replace me because, again, I'm thinking there's only room for so many, right? This is why we talk about that queen bee. That girl, even at that age, our young girls, or that woman who has to be the top of the social chain. No one else can have access like I do. So I'm going to make sure that I get rid of the competition. And we can use those relationship dynamics to be aggressive. So I can exclude you. I can have other people exclude you. We like to tell people who they can and cannot invite. So I'm not coming if that person is coming. You can't be my friend if you're going to be friends with that person. And so this is one of the ways we can exclude other women without having to raise a finger at them. But I'm going to get you out of what I perceive to be my circle or stop you from being a potential threat to me by limiting your access. I think a lot of times don't realize just to what extent as women we'll go to be able to have what we perceive to be the type of relationships that we want to have. And so in these particular instances, tearing you down is not even a big cost to me because of what I feel like will be my reward. Women are often anxious as well. We deal with a lot of anxiety. We also deal with a lot of worth issues, not feeling like we're enough, not feeling like we're valued, feeling insecure about what we're able to have. And so sometimes that criticism is coming out of that place. I see you as being able to have something I cannot. I see you as being able to do something I cannot. So a lot of times what we'll see women attack another woman. For example, let's say I've got some health issues as a woman. I've gotten older. I'm not able to wear those heels anymore. Maybe I've had some significant health problems that have affected my physical functioning. And I see you, young lady, who is physically healthy, physically able to do things. Maybe you have gotten a new house or a new car. And so what I'm going to do is tear you down in some way because really I'm looking at you and I'm seeing what I no longer can be or what I don't have access to. And we'll see a lot of this when other women are critical of another woman's parenting. Now, maybe because I'm having some struggle over here with being able to have a child myself, maybe I'm having some struggle over here with the type of children that I have. Maybe they have some problems your children don't have. And so I'm feeling resentful about, well, why did I get stuck with these kids who are having all these problems, and here you are over here and your kids are doing well, so I'll attack your parenting. Or maybe you've gotten, again, this new house. I can't afford a house, or maybe I had to downsize. Maybe I'm in assisted living, or I'm in a income-based place to live right now. And so I'm looking at you and you have this thing that I can't have. So I come over and I tear down your house. Well, how much you pay for that? I know you overpaid for it. And look at these baseboards down here, and this house isn't well made, right? So I'll start trying to tear down what you have because I can't have it. Then we get into that whole physical piece because, again, like I said, this is the place we like to go to. This is easy target for women, is to attack another woman's physical appearance, because I don't care how much education we have, how much income we have, how much status we have, we still very easily often can be reduced to what I feel like people see when they look at me. So my attractiveness, who I am involved in a relationship with. So am I single? Or am I with someone? And my title, who people think I am in terms of my identity. This principal, or this, like I said, this boss lady. We like to throw that term around a lot. I'm a boss, not recognizing what that means, and the negative connotations that come along with that. That I had to step on a lot of people to get here. That I'm going to talk to people in very disrespectful ways to stay there. Right, so it's taken on kind of this negative persona. But I care so much about how people see me, and me feeling attractive and me feeling valued by other people, that's a huge source of anxiety for me. When I lose that beauty, maybe I have alopecia, and so I don't have the hair that I used to have. Maybe my skin has changed, and I've got more wrinkles and more weathered looking spots on my face. And so I don't have that beauty that I used to have, that I relied on so much. Maybe my weight has changed, and so I don't have that Coke bottle figure that I was taught was representative of who a woman is. I don't have that anymore. And so I feel like I've lost the things that make me a woman. And so I have so much anxiety about that I've lost these things, and now how people see me, and are they going to want to engage with me? Am I going to be able to keep my job? And because we know ageism is real, we know sexism is alive and well, we know that as women, sometimes that attractiveness is what allows people to hire us. Not right, but it's true. And so when I lose that, does that mean I'm going to get fired? If I lose that, does that mean I'm going to lose my friends? If I lose that, does that mean I'm going to lose my partner? So I'm attacking you, person, because you still have that and I don't have it anymore. I'm attacking you, person, because I don't want people looking at you and thinking to themselves like, oh, wow, this is a really attractive, or she's a go-getter in the office. People really like her. She's very personable, right? So I'm here. I'm anxious about that. As I'm losing things, these other new people are coming in, and they've got all the things that I don't have anymore. And so what's going to be my place? We frequently will limit ourselves to those kinds of things. What we look like, what our title is, what our bodies look like. And so if you limit yourself to that, and that's all you have in terms of your worth and your identity, then yes, you are going to be more likely to compare yourself to other people and attack other people when they have what you don't have. There are other things that cause us to be critical, and I don't want to downplay those. We could be going through hormonal changes. We know hormonal changes can cause changes in mood, right? So I can go from being a person who was pretty evenly keeled to somebody that's easily angered, upset, frustrated, irritated all the time. We also know that sexism and racism, as I mentioned earlier, are alive and well. And so some of these things harden us as women. And so in an effort to protect myself, I've become hardened as well. And so I'm attacking things because I don't want to be taken advantage of or run over or lose an opportunity, because that can make a difference between whether or not I'm able to take care of my family. There is untreated mental illness. People are struggling with, dealing with depression that can come out as anger. People can be very critical, self-critical as well as critical of others when they're in those places. Substance abuse. We know that people can say all kinds of stuff when they're under the influence. So that could be a factor at play there, as well as financial stress. Stress in general can make us really struggle with being able to not be critical because we are dealing with so much, we're overwhelmed. And so you just get this kind of emotional vomit, if you will, when you interact with us. And so those are also some of the things that could be at play. So I don't want to just make it sound like all women are catty, all women are self-absorbed, because it is much deeper than that. Like, these are some intrinsic issues that women often struggle with, not recognizing that they are challenges for them about worth, about being enough, about being of value, and how we measure those things. And so because I have this perception, this faulty perception in my mind that you having something takes away from me having something, I'm lashing out at you, right? So we have to talk about, how do we address these things? How do we teach our young girls growing up to be able to have healthier behaviors, not be attacking, not be critical, not feel constantly threatened that somebody is going to take their spot, their status, their light away from them, that more than one of us can shine at a time, and I can still be loved and important, even if I don't have the things that I used to have, because they're not what made me important in the first place. So how do we make that shift? Well, it's really important, I think, first of all, to shift from often these very passive aggressive ways of communicating. So I'm not actually telling you what's going on with me. I'm not telling you that I'm hurt about that I had this miscarriage, or I'm hurt about that this relationship didn't work out for me, or I'm hurt about that I've tried multiple times to be able to get myself in a financially stable position and I failed. And you haven't had to struggle. Like, I got to deal with that part. I got to deal with my emotions. I have to deal with my ability to express myself, and not be passive aggressive, not attack you as a mechanism for me to be able to express passively that I'm struggling over here and you're not. So I need to be assertive. I need to be able to say what is going on with me, but I also need to be able to assertive in expressing what I need. So I may need for you person to sit and talk with me because I am having a hard time and I'm going through something. And I need to have that trusting, non-critical ear who can be supportive. And so I need to be able to express that, because if I do tell somebody what I actually need, then I'm much more likely to get it, other than doing these passive aggressive things and then I don't get the need met. And again, that just fulfills for me what I already believe. That self-fulfilling prophecy, right? We need to address our worth issues as women, because the real issue is I don't feel like I'm enough. It has nothing to do with you, other person. You, other woman, could be anyone. I don't feel like I'm enough. And so I'm going to have to address my self-esteem. If I want to get out of this pattern of being critical of other women, then I have got to find some things that give me meaning and purpose outside of these very superficial things and outside of these relational things, that when they end up not sticking around for whatever reason, then now I'm broken to pieces. So my anchor has to be much stronger than that. I've got to have a stronger base than just these superficial things of who I'm involved in a relationship or what I look like, right? And this is when spirituality can be very important to us. This is when being able to give back to our communities can be very important. This, me nurturing my talents and my gifts, my creativity, can be very important, because these are the things that make me, not for someone else, but for me. Stop comparing ourselves to other people. And again, we compare ourselves to people to make ourselves look good, like, oh, they're worse off, so I feel better, or oh, they're doing much better than me, so I feel worse. Neither one of those are healthy. We need to have affirmations about who we are as people, and not how other people we think perceive us. And so again, I need to just compare me to me. I don't need to be comparing me to other people. Anger management skills, and that's the truth. Some of us really do have to get at this rage that we have that comes out toward other women. And these rage issues often are steeped in trauma. They are frequently steeped in abuse of some kind, neglect of some kind, not being validated, loved growing up, not being able to express ourselves in healthy ways, having to protect ourselves in these situations where I wasn't safe. And so I got to deal with that. I've got to be able to learn how to feel safe in my skin without having to lash out in other women to do it. And that may include me addressing the relationships I've had with women in my life because they have set the stage, they have set the foundation. What was my relationship like with my mother, my grandmother, my aunts, my teachers, right? So I need to look at these relationships with women and learn to build healthy, trusting relationships, which may mean I need to get involved in a group of women who are mentors, supportive, women who can be there for me and replace these negative perceptions that I have of women who have been in my life, to be able to give me some positive experiences with women to have as the mechanism by which I'm measuring. If I think that all women are scandalous and out to get me and backbiting and stabbing, then am I going to really be able to trust women? No. So but I first got to find some trusting women. That doesn't mean I just need to get involved with other women who act like me, who are struggling with the same types of things I'm struggling with. So we get together and do the same stuff and be destructive. No, I need to find supportive, empowering, encouraging women who do not have to be aggressive or passive aggressive in order for them to be seen, heard, and valued. They are assertive and able to get their needs met. Change your environment. Sometimes your environment can feed that criticism. So if you're in an environment with a lot of catty, messy, negative, critical people, if you're in a work environment, a home environment, in peer relationships with women like this, you may need to change this group of women you're around. They are feeding you being critical and attacking of other women because that is what they're doing. So again, we're going to do what we see. So if I'm in a space where other women are doing it, I'm not going to be challenged to change my behavior. I'm going to continue that behavior. And then I think it's really important for us to learn how to resolve conflict in a healthy way. We can talk to other women and resolve challenges that we have without resorting to going on social media, without recording fights, without making threats, going live. Like, we can just have conversations. We also need to be very mindful about having healthy relationships. We need to stop getting involved with people who are going to have other people be a part of this relationship because of the choices that they're making. So I feel like I'm in competition with some other woman because you're dealing with other women in our relationship. Empathy. This is something that we have to teach our little girls too, coming out the gate. How to be empathetic of other girls. Not laughing at people when they're down. Being able to connect with this person as a human being. Understand that they have feelings. See them as a person who could be me. So if I wouldn't want to feel like that, why would I want to make some other person feel like that? Learning how to listen. Oftentimes I think women and girls don't know how to listen to each other. We're so busy constructing our rebuttal that we don't actually hear what this woman is saying, this girl is saying. So learning how to listen, and that's part of the conflict resolution, to hear and be able to come up with some solutions that work for both of us. We want to also monitor our internet activity. Some of us are on sites. We have accounts where it's just mess, and we need to limit what we're seeing. We need to limit what our little girls are seeing, our teenagers are seeing. They don't need to see all of this on TV, social media, feeding this negativity and this perception that it's okay to tear down another woman. In fact, it's necessary, right? It's not. So I need to be looking at women who have healthy relationships with each other on my social media, what I'm watching on TV. I need to be very intentional about presenting positive images of women around me. And we also need to recognize what our limits are. Yes, there is going to come a point when your looks change. Your ability to be able to do things changes. You're not going to be over that program at church anymore. You are not going to be the head person at your job anymore. And being able to transition, grieve the loss of things that we no longer going to have, transition and move to other things. Because as I transition out of one thing, then if I have pursued my other interests, my hobbies, my goals, my talents, my gifts, I have other things that I can transition to. And so I don't feel like I'm incomplete, I'm unwhole, I don't have an identity if I no longer have the things that I might have had the first half of my life, or the first quarter of my life, or the middle quarter, however you want to look at it. Okay? You do not have to tear her down to feel better about yourself. You only need to build yourself up so you can celebrate her too. Be encouraged.